Hello and welcome to MLS Cup Central. I am Andrew Wiebe. One more day. That's all we have left until the big game. This time, Saturday evening. Confetti's going to be flying. A trophy is going to be in the air. Somebody will be in possession of the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy. Here is the time for you. 4 p.m. Eastern, Toronto FC, Seattle Sounders, ESPN and Unimas in the United States, TSN and TVA Sports in Canada. TSN's pregame starts at 3:30 p.m., but you'll already be knee-deep in MLS Cup analysis. That's because we start at 3 p.m. Eastern right here with Opara and Dax McCarty. That's the pregame show. We'll be back afterwards on the postgame show, and you can be a part of all of this. MLSsoccer.com/playoffs. Send us your question, your query, your hot take. You can be eligible to win an official match ball or a replica from 2017. We give away 4 every single show. We've got your winners coming up in just 1 second. Guys, the forecast is in. Medium threat of snow, 30% chance of flurries. Anybody used the orange ball before? It's never happened in MLS Cup.
No, I think I played in a colder MLS Cup. No snow, but
you think so?
Freezing rain.
Okay.
2010. Nobody was happy.
Okay, that's precipitation, not snow.
Feet cold. If my feet cold, I get significantly worse at soccer.
Goes down, straight down. All right, Dax McCarty to my left. You know him well. You are thinking something about this atrocity that he's wearing. It's Christmas time.
I'm trying to bring a little bit of flavor to this set. Are we on the Men in Blazers? I don't know.
That's a low blow, man.
Hey.
All right, look, it's a big week for both these teams. You're a leader on your team, have been for a long time, a captain in MLS. What are those guys doing this week to get their teams prepared?
I think it's quiet confidence. The captain's supposed to exude quiet confidence. You want to keep the mood light. You want to keep the atmosphere in the locker room light. You don't want to make it is a final. You don't want to make too big of a deal of it, but you want to tell the guys, just do the things that we did to get us here to this point.
Pressure's there, but of course, you got to understand 90 minutes will come and go by really, really quickly. Be on the top of your game. Don't be too nervous. Opara, the defender of the year, absolutely crushed it in 2017. Well-deserved. Congratulations. Let's go to the back lines. We'll have you break down the whole thing later on in the show, but I want to know which defender in this game you admire most.
Yeah, for me, there's a couple of guys I could have gone with, but I'm going to stick with Chad Marshall. He's been doing it for a decade plus in this league, playing at a high level of consistency. 50 Defender of the Year awards for him. So it's hard to go against him what he's done in this league, and he's got the experience to back it. So
he does not have a bicycle kick, though.
I don't think he does.
No,
I don't think he
no
does.
bicycle kick for him. I got one of those this year. We're so happy to have him and Dax on the show, and as always, Matt Doyle, the armchair analyst here, our noted cat daddy and tactics expert. We'll get to you in just a second, my man.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I know. By the way, the balls, they're in your court because you can win 4 of them. As I said, MLSsoccer.com/playoffs. 2 replicas, 2 official match balls at stake. You got to get your questions in. You know how to do it. Look, if you show up with one of these at pickup, you are going to be the envy of everybody there. Just want to make sure you don't lose it. The replica winners from Thursday night, Juan Garcia, Ben Mahler, congratulations, guys. You've got a ball coming your way, and we'll get to the match balls in just a second. 2 guys won those as well. Raymond Barney gets us started on this show, guys. He says, what's your favorite postseason moment, regardless if you were involved or not? I'm going to make you stick to 2017. Doyle, take us away. What sticks out?
When it all popped off in the club. In the red light district in Toronto, when Josie and Tyler Adams got into it, Sasha Kleshner as well.
What's your boy doing here, Zach?
That's my favorite scene in the whole thing. Sasha, he's like a string bean.
And I'm surprised that Tyler Adams walked right past that. Knowing Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.
I mean, all it needs right there is a strobe. Come on, that was awesome.
It was such
great.
an incredible moment. Of course, it affected the playoffs as well. Josie Altidore getting his second yellow. Red card. Would not play. Dax, your favorite moment?
I'm going Columbus, Atlanta. One of the most exciting 0-0 games that I've ever seen.
It was a great game.
Yep, I'm going to stick to the Columbus theme in this series with NYCFC. The home and away draw. I mean, exciting. I was a neutral fan considering we got knocked out of the playoffs, so I just wanted to see good games. And that series had it all for me.
Crew SC hung on in this game. David Villa almost got the winner. Harrison Offal's goal we just almost saw right there. This is the present. We're talking about MLS Cup 2017. You've got Seattle, you've got Toronto. Who will take it home? But, of course, the past is so important in this league, and we want to celebrate that as well. I'm going to take you back to 2002 for our MLS Cup flashback. That man, Carlos Ruiz, scores the golden goal in his first season in MLS. Matt, you were there.
I was, and that was about the only memorable thing that happened in that game. But this was what Ruiz and the Galaxy did that year. They were just a compact and ruthless defensive team. They would get him one chance, and he did that. I think he had 23 goals in the regular season, and then he scored in every playoff game. He was awesome.
One of the best personalities in MLS history. Carlos Ruiz, go check out the special on Extra Time Radio. Absolutely incredible. His history, his past, his path to MLS. You've got to give a listen to that one. Let's go out to Susanna, who was with Alexi Lawless and Stu Holden earlier today for some awesome banter.
All right, guys, I'm standing by with Stu Holden and Alexi Lawless of Fox Sports. And, guys, last year we were all in Toronto. You guys were calling the game. Not the case this year. You get to just be fans. How are you going to take in the game?
We get to hang out and try and stay warm. I don't know what you're going to do. I've got about 16 layers. I hope that we are up in a suite and we can really just enjoy this game and take it all. And you know what I want? I want to see goals. I want to see goals this year. We had to go all the way to penalties to wait for that drama with this save from Stephen Fry. And now this year, I think it's going to be a little different.
Toronto, if they win the game, for me, they're the best MLS team in history. But if they lose it, they're just another team that was okay and couldn't do it. And if they lose it 2 years in a row. So I think all the pressure is on Toronto right now. Remember last year, both Nicolas Lodero and Jovenko did not have good games. So I think early on, if one of them is having a game, that's a difference already.
How is that pressure going to manifest itself within the game? Because I saw a team, first 20 minutes against Columbus, they didn't score a goal. They missed a couple chances. The crowd starts moaning and groaning. Everybody on the field is starting to see the pressure. You're asking questions. But then they won the game, and I just think this is Toronto's year when I look at it. And I know there's less pressure on the team that's defending MLS Cup, that's coming in, and a motivated Clint Dempsey and all the things that you have going there. So am I writing Seattle off? Absolutely not. I think they have a chance, and tomorrow's game could be a chance for Michael Bradley to really right some of the wrongs that have gone on in the last year.
Look, he's not righting any wrongs no matter what happens. All right, there are some wrongs that you cannot right. Number one. Number two, the only thing more insufferable than Seattle Sounders fans winning an MLS Cup is Seattle Sounders fans winning 2 MLS Cups in a row.
Well, what about Toronto FC fans?
They're nothing compared to the Seattle.
Are they a
folks.
super club? Are they an Alexi Lawless approved super club?
But if you have to win. You have to win the big one to be even
okay.
to get
to
my
be considered.
to have me anoint
so
you a
Seattle
super
got
club.
the stamp of
Seattle's a
approval
super club.
year.
100% super club. All right, all one word, big S and big C.
Okay. Any more hot takes before I let you guys go? This is your chance. You don't have the pressure of calling the game. This is, let it out. Let it out right here. This is your moment.
Stephen Fry lets in a howler.
From a Justin Morrow shot cross.
Oh, there you go.
He's got your left back has 8 goals on this season. It's going to be the 9th in MLS Cup, and Toronto are going to win 1-0.
Prediction?
There you go. No, Seattle's winning.
Seattle's winning.
Yeah, because they are insufferable, and that's just what
Dinner.
they're going to do.
Dinner.
All right, dinner.
You heard it here. I love these guys. Always, never a dull moment with these two.
Some might say Alexi Lawless is insufferable. No, I love you, man. I love you. You know I love the shtick. But by the way, Dax was sitting here like pounding the table earlier on that clip saying, wait, what? What?
I'm going to respectfully disagree with my ginger brother here. Just okay. Just an
Toronto
okay team.
FC? Yeah.
Toronto FC, go through one of the best regular seasons in MLS history, win 2 trophies. I agree it's a failure if they don't bring home MLS Cup, but to say they're okay, no.
I love that you keep putting me next to the supporter shield. Truth. To me, the Shield is where it's at. That is the best one, but they got to finish this off if they want to have that title as best MLS team of all time.
No surprise the former Red Bulls player would say that. Sorry, I'm on a roll here. Our predictions will come tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. Dax, Ike will be back to give those to you. We've got a fan question here from Jerry Neal. He says, who would you rather have on your soccer team? This is your imaginary team that you own and run and sign players for. No, God, no. Alexi Lawless, Herculez Gomez, both in their prime, by the way. I'm going to add Stu Holden to that mix. Who are you guys taking? Who do you want?
I'm going with Stu. I want my team to have a creator, and Stu was one of the best I've seen, in this league at creating goals and even scoring goals himself. And plus, I kind of finished robbed with injury.
Did you borrow this beard idea from Alexi Lawless? You got like half of a Lawless beard.
Alexi has an all-time goat beard, maybe even, actually. So
a goatee.
I'm going for the Kevin Garnett look.
Who are you guys going with?
I'm going Herc. I'm going Herculez Gomez. I'll take a goal scorer any day of the week over a defender that, quite frankly, I never saw him play.
Because you're so young.
I never saw him play.
It's getting shady on set.
I'm very old. I saw Alexi play. I will say this. All 3 guys were great. There's really no wrong choice here. Both Herc and Alexi had goals incorrectly ruled out in the World Cup for the U.S. national team. But I'm going to go with Alexi. People forget how good he was, especially his vision out of the back. Really underrated. But no wrong choice.
Jillian Sakovitz, by the way, is going to be with Herculez Gomez in just a little bit. So stick with us here and make sure you get your questions, your hot takes tactics, whatever it is in. We have the winners of the official match balls. James Zubowitz, Patrick Miller. You guys are going to get some balls in the mail very soon. Congratulations, guys. It's going to be awesome. You'll be the ones that pick up saying, I don't think we're going to use my ball today, guys. I'm going to keep it in the bag. It's okay. Daniel Kuzer, you are also entered to win the contest for tomorrow. He asks, what are the weakest parts in the Sounders and Toronto FC lineups, game plans, tactics, whatever? How can they be exposed? Dax, I'm going to stick in the Eastern Conference. This is tough. These are the finalists. I
mean, it's hard to pick out, these finalists and some of the best teams in MLS. But I'm going to say that if TFC does have any weakness, it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball with Josie and Sebastian Giovinco. Their job is not to defend. It's to attack. It's to do the things that they've done all season to make them one of the best teams ever. But it is a little bit of a liability on defense when they don't come back and help.
That's not much of a weakness. I'm going to ask you to find a chink in the armor on the Seattle side, Ike.
And I'm really, really struggling. I'm going to be reaching, I think, when I say this, because obviously we know how good Seattle has been defensively the last couple months of the year. Maybe going at Nuhu, who could be young and nervy, see if he's up for the task, playoff game with some pressure on the road. But he's looked up for it all playoffs, so I'm really reaching when I say that.
I mean, they haven't given up a goal.
I mean,
that's the time of year.
Yeah, I mean, or you just hope for a mistake at the back from somebody, really.
Two teams left. Weaknesses are not aplenty with either of these teams. We've been going through the tail of the tape over the last couple days here on MLS Cup Central. You can see it here. We're giving the advantage to either Toronto FC or the Seattle Sounders. Tim Melia got us started. You got that green check mark for Stefan Frei. Based on experience, really. He liked Alex Bono. In the attack, Diego Valeri pushed and pushed and pushed. He waffled, but he said, okay, fine. Toronto FC. On the bench, Julian Gressel gave the Reds the advantage. Dax, for obvious reasons, I'm going to you on the midfield. Let's keep it with Toronto. What do you see from this group? They got a best 11 talent in Victor Vasquez, and I had Michael Bradley in my best 11. So much talent. Coming
from a defensive midfielder, he should have been in the best 11. I don't know what kind of formation the best 11's running these days, but without a defensive midfielder like Michael in there, they're going to struggle. I think Toronto has a slight edge in the midfield. I think you have Michael, you have Victor Vasquez, and then you have a guy like Marky Delgado who, he doesn't get a lot of love because of all the other guys in the team, but he's been a fantastic two-way player for them.
I mean, he's a guy that came from Chivas USA. They developed him. Greg Vanney knew him for a long time, Doyle.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a great player for them this year. He has struggled lately. He was not particularly good against Columbus or the Red Bulls. Seemed to struggle a little bit with the physicality of the game. He's been off. Toronto's been a little bit off for the last couple of months. They're not the same team they were that blazed through the summer.
They have an opportunity to make all of us forget that, though. On the other side, Seattle trying to repeat. No Ozzie Alonso. Dax, he failed that fitness test on Thursday. That's a huge blow. A guy in the past, I think we would have looked at it and said, how are they going to recover? Brian Schmetzer, Seattle fans, I don't think they're as worried this time around. Tell me about their midfield.
They're not, because they haven't had him for the past couple of months, and Seattle's still rolling along. Not conceding goals, dominating the midfield. And I think a lot of it has to do with Christian Roldan and his work in the midfield, how busy he is. But I want to give some love to a guy who is really unheralded, a guy who is basically plugged in holes all over the field, and I assume will be playing defensive midfield for the Sounders in this game. Gustav Svensson, he's a guy that any team would love to have as depth. He's a guy that's going to a World Cup with one of the better teams in Europe. It's going to be very interesting to see how he does in MLS Cup in the midfield.
We didn't speak about Nicolas Lodero. You faced him a lot. He's a heck of a player.
He's decent. Yeah, he's decent in his movement, and he's always running. I mean, really underappreciated part of his game is his ability to be an engine, get in the box, help his team defensively.
He's really busy.
There he is. And it's tough to track out of the midfield. Those late runs, maybe even. He can obviously spring guys in behind.
He finds the spots in behind the midfield that defensive midfielders, it gives them nightmares.
Mm-hmm. And if you're not communicating, he's gonna terrorize you there.
Yep. All right. Nicolas Lodero could be a difference maker in this game. Taylor Twellman will be on the broadcast. For ESPN, Jillian Sakovitz caught up with him today about this final.
Taylor, 22 of the 28 guys from 2016 return on Saturday. What type of matchup do you think we will see here tomorrow?
I think we get a better matchup. Last year was extremely difficult. Even though you and I look like it's extremely cold here, it was actually colder last year. Just walking on the field's better. Obviously, when you add the likes of Clint Dempsey, Victor Vasquez, to name a few, you're going to get a better game. But it's all about the revenge versus repeat storyline, and that's where this plays into a massive factor. But I think attacking-wise, we get a better game than last season.
Taylor, as somebody who has played in an MLS Cup rematch, who has the advantage in this one?
I appreciate you bringing that up. I thought you would open this segment with that.
I would never do that to you.
It's interesting. All of my MLS Cups were revenges, and the pressure is on Toronto. Unequivocally, it's hard to measure because the amount of pressure trying to make up for the previous year, also in front of a home crowd, the first 15, 20, 25 minutes, if Seattle has success, if Toronto struggles, that's going to put a huge amount of pressure on this team. And Seattle's been here before. They've won it in Toronto. So all the pressure in the world is on Toronto.
Would you say then Seattle has the advantage?
I think so. I really do, because of that. Now, in saying that, that's also because of my history, knowing losing 4 MLS Cups and always thinking about that revenge. So I really do believe like a Giovinco, Michael Bradley, if they can set the tone early, if Toronto could get an early goal, we may get one of the best MLS Cups, if not the best ever. But the longer this game goes 0-0, all the pressure's on Toronto.
It's going to be a battle in the midfield. How do you see that playing out here, Bimo?
It's going to be interesting on what Seattle does, because I think Columbus in leg 2, I tip my cap to Greg Berhalter, what he did, overloading the middle of the park that made it very difficult for Michael Bradley at times, and Michael Bradley still came up with 2 or 3 massive plays defensively. But I think with Clint Dempsey in the lineup for Seattle, Michael Bradley needs to be aware of those spaces, and the ball is played into his feet underneath Will Bruin. So now is it Rodriguez? Is it Jones? Is it Ladero? Whoever's playing in that game and wide, if they can come inside at times, I think it's going to make life very difficult. But the way Michael Bradley's been playing in the playoffs, I think he'll be up to the challenge.
Looking forward to seeing what happens in chilly Toronto. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Jillian. Of course, a lot of people looking at Seattle and saying, no pressure on them. They have the advantage here. But I want to know who has the check mark in the midfield for you on the tail of the tape, Dex.
Unfortunately for Seattle, they don't have one of their best players of all time, Ozzie Alonso. I'm going to have to go with Toronto just because of the addition of Victor Vasquez. The way that guy has played this year, it's given them something that they haven't had last year and something that has made them a lot better.
Julie Stewart-Binks is up next. And look, Checkmarks don't win MLS Cups. She is a Toronto native. She knows what's at stake. Let's go out to that right now.
Julie, it was like we were here just yesterday. You were on the sideline for the first game we had between the Sounders and Toronto just last year. A Toronto native yourself, what does this game mean for TFC?
Well, I mean, this is everything. As you mentioned, they lost it last year. They've essentially gotten every milestone this year. Canadian Championship, Supporters Shield, best team in regular season. Now they need to get this. And as someone from Toronto, I've seen the Blue Jays win it in 92 and 93. The Argos have won the Grey Cup. But to be able to do something like this for soccer in a country that in my lifetime has not qualified for the World Cup, this would be just something great for the sport in Canada.
Biggest threats from each side. Julie, you have the best vantage point out of anybody. What do you think the biggest threat for each side is going to be in this one?
Well, when you look at Seattle, they've just been so strong defensively. Of course, not allowing a goal at all in playoffs. Stephen Fry with that save that's going to haunt TFC fans forever. Now, on the other side, we see Josie Altidore, Sebastian Giovinco, and Victor Vasquez really facilitating that. But we don't know what kind of Josie Altidore we're going to see or just how long he's going to be able to go. But then we have Clint Dempsey, and that wasn't a part of the story last year. So you have that dynamic.
It helps make it interesting.
Yes, and both teams are so stacked. This dynamic could go either way. I think you could write a story for either team winning it. I do think that Seattle does have an edge, mostly because we don't know what kind of Josie Altidore we're going to see, and just because they've been so strong defensively.
And Julie, before I let you go,
yes.
Also repeating this year, not just the contenders, but these nails.
When Stephen Fry came to me after the Western Conference final this year, he said, "Are you going to get your nails done again?"
So you had to do it.
I want to see Seattle in there. And I thought, all right, I can't let that guy down. Fully committed effort here for MLS Cup.
Fully committed. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Jillian. I did not get my nails done. I just want to let you know that. We have another fan question coming in. Fabian Gaiacani says, which Sounders will be responsible for tracking and covering Giovinco, Altidore, and Vasquez? And to answer that question, I've sent Matt and Dax to the board to break down that Toronto attack.
Yeah, short answer is that it's never one person's job. Everything in this game is zonal because these teams move the ball so well, and that's what we're going to see right here as Drew Moore hits a third line pass that splits the San Jose defenders and then gets a pretty good player in a pretty good spot. That's Victor Vasquez.
Like we talked about before with Vasquez, he finds the spots that people can't track. Defenders don't know how to track it. Midfielders don't know how to track it. Sees the run of Josie Altidore, plays a perfectly weighted ball for Josie to have a great one-touch finish.
Yeah, and this is a good run off the back shoulder. That's something that wasn't necessarily in Josie's suitcase when he came to Toronto. He's been a little bit more mobile and a little bit more willing to make those penetrative runs. What he's more known for is his hold-up play and ability to combine around the box. This is what we're about to see right here.
Well, this is an underrated part of Josie's game. Look at his vision, look at his movement, sucks the defender in, knows that he has a guy in Vasquez that's always going to be able to play a final pass, and another perfect one-touch finish with his left foot.
Yeah, scored basically that same goal against Columbus to get them into this game. But this right here, this is a problem for the Philadelphia Union. Take us through this.
Yeah, it's a problem for the Union. It's a problem for a lot of defenders in this league. When Josie has you pinned around the box, as Dax hinted at, he's a very underrated player in and around the box with combination play. And if you don't have the strength, which Gaddis in this play doesn't have, it's going to be a problem. But luckily for the Sounders, they'll have, hopefully in those situations, it's Marshall or Torres man-to-man with Josie in those situations where they can hold him for pay or for strength and maybe better positioning as well.
Yeah, they have the strength to match up with him. They might not have the quickness, and that might mean some free kicks around the box, which, of course, Toronto are pretty decent at.
I'm not going to make that bold of a statement here by saying that, in my opinion, Sebastian Giovinco, top 3 free kick taker in the world right now.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's that bold of a statement either. Let's see how Andre Blake does against him.
Yeah, so you would say the obvious place to put the ball for Giovinco is going to be in this corner right here, correct?
Correct. Just as an aside, my favorite part of this play is Victor Vasquez standing over the ball as if he's the one who's going to take the free kick.
He's not fooling anyone.
No, he's not fooling anyone. It's number 10 who's going to take this. And, of course,
you see what happens. I mean, let's be honest. Andre Blake, one of the best goalkeepers in the league, one of the most athletic goalkeepers in the league, he's getting beat to the side that he's covering by Giovinco. He doesn't even see the ball until it's already past him in the net. I mean, you can't teach that.
No, you can't. And Toronto FC, you can't stop them. They scored more goals than anybody else in the league this year. Twice as many goals as they conceded. One of the highest scoring teams of all time. They got some talent, guys.
They do. Yeah, they do. Okay. Come back and join us, guys. In the meantime, let's go to another fan question here. Edward Kaliller says, will Stefan Fry and the Sounders collectively continue their postseason shutout streak? The answer is maybe. We'll have to see on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then Russell Crouch says, how come Seattle's defensive record for the second half of the season and the playoffs has not been talked about more? Now, Ike, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Every time we talk about the Sounders, we talk about that shutout streak. I want to get in on the defense here. We're going to go to tail of tape in just a second, but break down Seattle, that back line, that defensive unit that's been so successful.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a Homer question first off. Maybe he's not looking, subjectively around the league. But I will say they may be overshadowed just because, they've got guys at the back who, they play simple. They don't do anything flashy, and their attack as well. Big name players always will overshadow the defense.
But simple doesn't mean not dominant, right?
For sure. You can't put a ball up in the air against those guys and think you're going to win it. I mean, the only way you can maybe get by Seattle is if you make them scramble, if you can penetrate at them with the runs, maybe in behind, slipping them in.
I look at that defense, that's especially the center part of it, as just a black hole.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to play balls in the air, they're going to win every one. Right? You want to play balls on the ground, try to combine around the box. They're both quick, clever enough to be able to cut out passing lanes and be physical.
Yeah. And they haven't lost a game with Marshall and Torres playing together since March.
It's an important
clearly
part.
The chemistry is there.
By the way, Chad Marshall, everybody I talk to, one of the fastest players in the league. You might not know that. Straight line? Yeah. Okay, on to Toronto. Tell me about that back line. It can be 3 with those center backs. Sometimes it's 5 with the wing backs, depending on where they are on the field. They're versatile, and they're underrated, I think.
They're very underrated because, again, it's kind of like Seattle. That attack kind of gets all the notoriety. But I will say with Toronto, it's been interesting seeing how they've evolved from the regular season to the playoffs, because you saw in the regular season Justin Morrow and Badershore getting high up the field, pretty much playing as forwards, especially Justin Morrow with 8 goals. And then you see these playoffs. I'm not sure he's touched the ball in the opponent's 18, which is rare for him. And so they've been more stay-at-home defenders. And so that being said, the harder to break down. And they're already hard to break down in the regular season. Now they don't have as much going forward as a team, but that's kind of the trade-off.
For me, the reason for that is because you don't need to send your wingbacks forward if you have guys like Josie, Giovinco, and Victor Vasquez. They can attack with 3 guys and still be dangerous.
Right.
Rip you up, which they did.
Right, but they're going against a Seattle team now, where if you hope your superstars make the plays, versus a good Seattle team. I think that they're going to...
They're going to have to be aggressive.
Yes.
Irresistible force versus a movable object type of thing.
Something's going to give, right? Maybe.
So I got to put you on the spot here. Diego Valeri sat on the set yesterday and I asked him to say, attack, give me the check mark on the tail of the tape. He waffled. He finally went Toronto. Don't waffle on me here, Ike.
I'm waffling.
Make a choice. Make a choice.
Come on, Ike.
So
we believe in you, man.
This is an easy choice.
So they're both, obviously, Seattle, what they've done the last couple of months speaks for itself. Toronto, what they've done all year, which has been overlooked, speaks for itself. And they're at home.
Who's getting the check mark?
I think I'm going to go Seattle.
All right, hey, 3-2. 3-2. Starting to even the tail of the tape there. We'll continue on Saturday with more and finish that off. As I said, check marks don't win championships. Our own David Goss, though, is in Toronto talking with those wingbacks for Toronto FC. Stephen Beitashour, Justin Morrow. It feels like they've been together forever.
Yeah, obviously we've spent a lot of games on the field together and a lot of time off the field, so we know each other pretty well. That's just one thing that I think we do well together, is just we counterbalance each other.
We know each other really well. I think we know our tendencies for sure. That's a big part of it. But then we talk about things before the game as well, which is, I don't really have that connection with many other players. We room together on the road and we talk about strategies, how we're going to play certain players, if we're playing defense against certain wingers, how we're going to play them, their strengths, their weaknesses, things like that.
Are you guys competitive about looking out at the league and saying we're the best fullback tandem?
I think more so when we were at San Jose, just because we were kind of up and coming and we didn't feel like we were really getting much love over there. And I think it's different now when you're on a good team competing for an MLS Cup, in back-to-back years. So, I think, more so back then, but now it's just something that's expected of us.
How much easier is it when you're playing with him out there rather than someone else?
Yeah, obviously he's an unbelievable player, throughout his career from San Jose to now. He's progressed, he's gotten better, and he's one of those people that he competes and he puts in the effort, and it kind of motivates you if you're having kind of a sluggish day and you see the energy that he's putting out, so you want to do the same.
Apart from being a great teammate, he's a good friend of mine, so to have him and his wife Carly here in Toronto with us has been great.
Those guys could be the difference on Saturday. Let's keep it in the 6 now and talk to a guy who has an MLS Cup ring from 2016. That'd be Herculez Gomez, who chatted with our own Jillian Sakovitz.
Herc, it was a year ago right here at BMO Field that you won MLS Cup. Now you're back with ESPN. What has this year been like for you, and how different does this time around feel?
It feels just as cold. Last year was pretty cold. I haven't done any physical activity since, so it's been a pretty cool year in that sense. It's been a lot of fun. I'm learning. It's a new gig. Being back in Toronto is amazing. Lots of great memories here. My time as a Toronto player, MLS Cup last year. It's a lot of mixed emotions all coming together, but it's been a lot of fun seeing familiar faces.
Last year, no goals, a cagey game. What do you think we see this year?
Well, I think you see a Seattle team that's going to shoot more than once, that's for sure. You're talking about a Seattle team that's a lot better than they were last year, and evidently by the fact that I'm not on Seattle's bench, they got better players. You could say it's an upgrade there. But this is a Seattle team that's playing really, very well at the moment. But this Toronto team is probably the best MLS team we've ever seen. Not particularly playing well at the moment. They're playing at home in front of the great fan base, so it's going to be a great game.
Where do you think the threats are going to lie in this one?
Well, when you look at Seattle, it has to be offensively. It has to be in the final third, the players they have that can produce, those special moments at any given time. And Clint Dempsey, who didn't play last year, who now has the opportunity, to get that coveted cup that he's always wanted. And then you have a Will Bruin who came out of nowhere. If you would have said Will Bruin would have been double digits in goals this year, a lot of people would have told you you're crazy. But he's got that quality about him. And then you look at the other side, it's Sebastian Javier, Joe Zielter, Michael Bradley, Victor Vasquez, but I think it's that back five that they have that's really been the backbone of that team. Alex Bono and that back five have really been something else, so I'm excited to see how they fare against Seattle's offensive power.
Herculez Gomez knows a thing or two about those threats for the Sounders. So do Doyle and Dax. Guys, you're at the board. Tell me what you see from this attack. So much better than last year.
Diego Valeri, when he was on the show yesterday, he talked about how the Sounders like to get out and run and attack space, and that's exactly what they're doing right here.
What a difference maker Jovan Jones has been for them out on the left wing. He's moved from left back to left midfield, has given them a left-footed option to put in dangerous crosses and have a little bit more speed on the wing.
Yeah, doing a nice job of handling the offside line right there. Watch this guy. This is Nicholas Ladero right here. He's going to make that run. Jordan Harvey gets pulled inside.
As a defender, this is what Clint Dempsey does. He just draws attention. And you'll see Jordan Harvey actually makes the right play here, running in to defend Clint. Doesn't know what's going on the back line. Nico Ladero with basically a tap-in.
Yeah, he's going to make that one every time. Clint Dempsey, as Dak said, commands a lot of attention. We're going to see some of it here, but it doesn't always start with him. In this case, it starts with Ladero and Roldan.
And we paused it, but it's a fantastic combination between Roldan and Ladero. Roldan knows that once a guy like Nico Ladero gets the ball and he can face forward, run into the space. Nico Ladero is going to find you running forward and getting at the back line.
And once he gets at the back line, they have to converge on him, which they do. You can see he draws 3 defenders right here, and with that much attention there, Clint Dempsey.
You find a guy like Harry Shipp with a fantastic assist to Clint at the top of the box. Not many guys can do what Clint does. No. Right foot, left foot, it really doesn't matter for him. He's a fantastic finisher. He has been his whole career.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys in this league who are pretty one-footed, be great finishers. Clint is cut from a different mold. Guys, are we going to let Dax get away with that, though?
Not many guys can do what what he just did. That's not intentional. That's a swan dive.
That's the turf monster. He got fun of in the locker
spoken like true guys that aren't midfielders and don't have that midfielder vision.
He got made fun of in the locker room for sure after that.
All right, well, we broke down what Sebastian Giovinco can do on direct free kicks. Sounders do it a little bit differently. They're a nightmare to match up with on these restarts. Portland matching up, it looks pretty much man for man right here.
And you would think, you got to watch out for Chad Marshall, these big guys in the box. And the main guy on this play is the guy that scores a goal, Christian Roldan, little guy in the box, boxing out his guy, getting in front of the keeper, being a pest. Yeah. That's what I've done pretty well in my career, but I think he's taken over that mantle.
He has done well as a little guy on restarts, but it is the big guy who makes this play, Chad Marshall. How do you go against him 1v1?
Yeah, the thing, if you're man marking Chad Marshall, you can't let him get a step on you because he's too big to get around, and he's a really good header of the ball. And so once you're caught behind, you're out of luck.
Toast. You're toast. Yeah, it's gone.
Very much so. But what's going to be interesting is Toronto zonally marks. So I'm curious to see if they're going to stay zone, or if they're going to throw in a little mix with zone and man to maybe put a marker on Chad Marshall or the other big man, Torres. So it'll be interesting to see what Greg Vanney has in store.
I think Vanney throws a little wrench at Marshall. He probably doubles him with Giovinco just to throw him off a little bit.
But then you leave Torres, you leave
right.
Yeah, well, Giovinco, right. You leave Torres, you leave Bruin, you leave Roldan, and you leave Clint Dempsey. There are a lot of ways that the Seattle Sounders can kill you on restarts. It's unpleasant going against them.
I have a feeling that Greg Vanney is not going to have Sebastian Giovinco marking anybody in the box. If he does, that might be trouble. This big game coming up Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Unimas, TSN TVA Sports in Canada. We'll be right here at 3 p.m. Eastern for the pregame show. That is when you will get our predictions, but we are contractually obligated to make a prediction of some kind. So our friends at the Toronto Zoo helped us out. This is going to be the fastest, slowest prediction you've ever seen. They set this up. Man, it's Toronto. This is biased. That vine is leading directly to the TFC flag. He didn't even have a choice.
No, he didn't.
That is fake sloth news right there.
That is.
So, yeah.
Seattle got robbed in this prediction.
What are these lemurs doing? What's their part in this prediction?
Was that even a lemur?
I don't know.
Are you a zoologist,
Andrew?
Andrew?
I don't know. National Geographic subscription.
Where's the World Cup octopus when you
that's true. I think he might have passed away.
Yeah, he turned into tapas, actually.
R.I.P. Our predictions are coming tomorrow, of course. Big thanks to these guys for joining me for our third MLS Cup Central show. We've been having a blast, but it's all about the big game, MLS Cup. Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, ESPN and Unimas in the States, north of the border, TSN and TVA Sports. TSN has your pregame show in Canada at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, but you'll already be watching us at 3. We've got the pregame. Ike, Dax, Matt, myself, we're going to have a blast. Tune in on MLSsoccer.com and YouTube and come hang out with us on the postgame show after the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy is lifted. It's going to be so much fun. Get your questions in, MLSsoccer.com/playoffs. You could win an official match ball. With that, go enjoy your Friday night, everybody. What are you waiting for? There are beers to be drank. We'll see you later.